What's up, YouTube? It's DarkSpyro here, and today we're going to dive on into my Rokket Buster Blader deck. Now, I don't want to waste any time with this deck profile, so let's just dive straight on into the Buster Blader core. And you can't have Buster Blader without the OG Madman himself. Got 3 copies of Buster Blader and 1 of the Retrain. You can play 2 and 2 if you wish. This is all personal preference. And if you really want to know why, I just like seeing Buster Blader in my opening hand more than the Destruction Swordmaster because he is searchable. But some people like that he's a Destruction Sword by name, and they try to add him with Whelp effect or discard him on another effect like, say, Protector Whelp. But it's all personal preference, like I said. And next, for our baby Destruction Swords, we have our triple copies of Buster Whelp. He is our core searcher for this whole deck, actually. He's like our main card that you want to see. If you have Whelp in hand, you can go nuts, get your prologue, or bring Buster Blader back from your hand or graveyard, doesn't matter. And to finish up the Destruction Sword monsters here, we have 2 Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. So I'm still only playing 2, I'm not playing 1 either. And we're playing 1 copy of Wizard Buster Destruction Sword. Wizard's effect allows you to add back any Destruction Sword monster from your graveyard to your hand, except for Wizard. So that's all really good. But his other effect completely shuts down all monster effects in your opponent's graveyard. And in the current meta, that's actually really strong, so I like having at least 1 copy of Wizard in the main deck. Next up, we got our Rokket package in here, and we're playing 3 copies of Rokket Synchron. This guy, also a level 1 Dragon Tuner, so if you want to try Cards of Consonance in this deck, it does work, but I go back and forward between it and other draw power cards. I just like to mess around and see what actually helps the deck the most. 3 Rokket Synchron because it's our core quick launch target, and I'm not playing any force in this deck. And the last one here is Absolute Dragon, of course. You can special summon him from your hand if you control a Rokket monster, and being a 7+1, go into a Buster Dragon or any other level 8 that you have. And when he goes to the graveyard, you get to add a Rokket Synchron from your deck to your hand, which is beautiful when you have Boot Sector launch on the field. So that's it for the Rokket monsters. Before we move on into the extender monsters, we're just going to go with the Red Eyes package first, and mine's a little bit more unique than everybody's standard 1-in-1. I like playing my 2-in-2, 2 Red Eyes, 2 Dark Magician, but that's because we can really benefit off of Dark Magician with Buster Blader as well. Yeah, having 2 is also nice because you can banish one of them and mind game your opponent, because they'll think, oh, you banished your Dark Magician, he's not playing a Dark Magician deck, should only have 1 copy. Then they'll just completely throw that Dragoon thought process out the window, and so they see Dragoon come on the field because you had another Dark Magician the whole time. And we're going to wrap up the monsters next. Our first extender is 2 copies of Noctovision Dragon. This guy is amazing in this deck, especially with how many Dark 7 Dragon targets can be special summoned and really easily. So when he's linked away, you get to go +1. And if your opponent tries to target any of your set back row, you can protect it with Noctovision, and then they cannot target your set back row for the rest of that turn. Next, we got some hand traps. And we're playing 2 copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. And I showed you guys this on my last profile. He's not really a hand trap, but kind of is. And he's super good against Sky Strikers right now, so 2 copies in the main deck. I'm also playing 1 Mono Dragon Zernatron still, and in the side deck I have another guy to switch out for. This guy is super good in a Buster Blader deck, especially because everybody's running back row removal right now. Doesn't matter if you get Cobsonic Cyclone or not, you just get to reset your card anyways. And the last one here is the little brother Omni Dragon Brotar. So this guy pretty much everyone knows. If you special summon, you can target a monster on the field, then add a monster from your deck to your hand with the same type and attribute as the targeted monster. That's it for the monsters. Now we're going to move on into the spells and trap cards. So we're going to kick this off with the traps first, because there's only 5 of them. We got 3 copies of Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman. This is the win button. I said it many times. You get to send a Destruction Sword card and a Buster Blader from your deck to grave as cost to special summon a Buster Dragon from either your extra deck or your graveyard. So yes, 3 copies of this. If it's not in your opening hand, and Whelp is, this is the card that you're trying to search off of Whelp, like every single time. And to go with them, we got 2 copies of Destruction Sword Memories. In tandem, this is just full combo almost. So Destruction Sword Memories, when it's in your graveyard, you can banish that card along with a Buster Blader and a Dragon Monster and special summon Buster Blader the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. You can actually chain this off of Prologue because it's sent for cost, like I said, and then you can have both the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman and Buster Dragon out there at the same time. And this has been a pretty old combo for a long time, but it just completely shuts down your opponent for at least the turn. That's it for the trap cards, so let's get on into the spells next. So to kick off our spell cards, I'm going to show you guys all of the fusion cards first. So we have 2 copies of Red Eyes Fusion. As you've seen, we have 2 Red Eyes Black Dragons and 2 Dark Magicians. And I got some spice in the side deck that I'll show you guys. Red Eyes Fusion, if you have it in your hand, Predaplant Verte Anaconda is now useless in the extra deck. So if you have one in your hand, you don't have to worry anymore. You can just hard activate it, and you'll still have another Dragoon for later and another Red Eyes Fusion to access it. To go with it, we're also playing Magical Eyes Fusion. You can do this instead of Red Eyes Fusion, but it's situational for me. I can either use it for Dragoon or for Dark Paladin. So Magical Eyes Fusion is a pretty nice card to have in here, especially because it's a target for Verte Anaconda. And the last fusion card is Destruction Swordsman Fusion. This one's a quick play spell, and it's searchable off of Buster Well. Oh, by the way, it's a super poly that you can keep recurring back from your graveyard as long as you have a card to discard. So you can kind of set up your graveyard with it too. Super poly your opponent's dragons, or a Dark Magician in some cases, and searchable. If you brick on memories, you can send that to grave with Protector Whelp and then just swap them around. Now you have one in your hand that's live, one in your graveyard that can be live after. So we're going to move on into the Rokket spells next. And this is just a fairly standard Rokket package. To go with the 4 monsters, we only have 4 spells. We're playing triple quick launch. And this is part of my 2-card combo that I will show you guys after this deck profile. So stay tuned for that at the end of the video. And the last card here is Boot Sector Launch, of course. You're going to definitely want to play this when you're playing Rockets, especially with a Striker Dragon, because it just helps you get free specials on board. And it does help if I play my Red Eyes variant, which this deck isn't, but I will profile that one again in the future, because I like updating my decks constantly for everybody. So that's it for the core spells. Now we're just going to go into the remaining spells, which are all extenders. Okay, let's start this off with the draw power, and this time I'm playing triple Allure of Darkness, and I don't have Sacred Sword in here, or Cards of Consonance, or even Chaos Space. So those are all personal preference. You can choose some, choose all, but for this specific deck, I've just been running Allure because if I can just at least activate one of them, I'm usually set. And I only run more draw power when my deck is over 50 cards. This has been a long time, but this is a 45 card deck, everybody. I have not done a deck that's under 50 cards in what feels like half a year, so yeah, 45 cards, you still get your triple Allure of Darkness. And next up we have the other half of our 2-card combo, which I showed you guys last time, Where Art Thou? If you open Quick Launch and Where Art Thou, you're gonna go absolutely nuts. Especially if you have cards like Noctovision in your hand too, then you could have 3 monsters on the field instead of 2. So yeah, double Where Art Thou because 3 can be kind of bricky. Moving on into our protection / revival cards. We were playing 2 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. This guy, I've said it many times, protects Buster Dragon from dying on Prologue's effect. Super useful. Also, anytime your opponent would destroy a dragon or dragons, you can just banish that card and protect them as well. So, pretty good for saving your boards. The final card in this deck is 1-for-1, and I'm sure you all know why. We have Brotar, we have an absolute whack load of level 1s that I would love to have out there on the field. But if you do this for Brotar, you get to target himself and then add another card to your hand, so you just got a special on field and another card in hand to replace the 1-for-1 that's engraved. That's pretty good. Sometimes if you have like Noctovision in your hand too, that's another plus on the board, and you link them, that's another draw. So 1-for-1 is pretty clutch in this deck. But that's it for the main deck. We're going to move on into the extra deck next. So this extra deck is broken up into 5 fusions, 5 synchros, and 5 link monsters. So I'm just going to show you each of them first. We got 2 copies of Buster Blader the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. Can play 3 and go absolute nuts on people, but if you lose your second Buster Blader, in my opinion, you kind of lost your chance to win the game already, so there's no real point. I'd rather have the space in my extra deck. And of course, you've seen the Red Eyes Fusion, so show you right now. We got 2 copies of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon also in our extra deck. This card is still King of Games level, and not even limiting it to 1 was a big mistake. And the last fusion monster, like I mentioned earlier, is Dark Paladin. So this guy has a not soft or hard once per turn spell negation. So each time your opponent activates a spell, so long as you have a card to discard, you can just keep saying no all day long. You don't actually have to run him in your extra deck. You can put him in the side deck or take him out entirely. It's personal preference, but I have Dark Paladin OTK'd many people now, so it's definitely worth trying out if you haven't before. Next up, we got our Synchro Monster, so I guess they'll go by level upwards for this. We're playing 1 copy of Shooting Riser Dragon. He's a level 7 light dragon. He's also a Synchro Tuner Monster, so you can special summon him off of Halqifibrax. And when you Synchro summon Shooting Riser Dragon, such as by the effect of Halqifibrax, because that counts as a Synchro summon, you can send a monster from your deck to the grave, and as long as it's under level 7, he loses levels equal to the level of the sent monster. So for me, I'll send Mono Dragon Zernatron, turns him into a level 1 tuner, and then I can put him with any other 7, go into an 8, or Buster Dragon and make a 9. Naturally, this is a Buster Blader deck, so we are playing 2 copies of Buster Dragon. I'm kind of tempted to throw 3 in here, just because of how nice it is to keep having multiple Buster Dragons on the field to equip multiple cards instead of just 1 on your opponent's turn. But you can recur him really easily. If you have Borreload set and he's in your graveyard or extra deck, special summon him. So yeah, you only really need 2 Buster Dragons in my opinion. We also have 1 more Synchro 8 here. We have Borreload Savage Dragon, so he's another sweet Omni Negate, and we have couple cards like say Protector Whelp to equip to him, and he gets multiple counters instead of just 1 from Striker. And there's also some pretty cool tricks you can do with Protector Whelp, I'm not gonna lie. So for Borreload Savage Dragon, we can actually bring him out with Shooting Riser Dragon on our opponent's turn using a level 7 we control, and our opponent never usually expects that. They're just trying to get out of our Buster lockdown, and then all of a sudden they have a Borreload Savage Dragon on the field too out of nowhere. You need at least 1 more Synchro 8 in my opinion, so if it's not a 3rd Buster Dragon, try and put something like Savage Dragon in here. The last Synchro monster here is our Synchro 9, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and I've actually tried multiple different cards here. Abyss just seems to be the best one, because you can just turn off any face-up card on the field, and that's really strong effect. It's also got 3200 attack, which is nothing to sneeze at. We have Borreload Savage Dragon and Buster Dragon as our Dark Dragons to go into him really easily, so Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss to round off the Synchro monsters. And to finally close up this deck profile, we're going to go into our Link monsters. We're playing 1 Striker Dragon as our Link 1, and people are probably missing multiples. If you've seen any of my deck profiles before, this didn't affect me at all. I only played 1 Striker Dragon to begin with, so putting him to limited 1 just kind of helped me more than anyone else. But Striker Dragon is here, obvious reasons. It's a Dark Dragon when you link off of your Protector Whelp, and you can special summon Noctovision just for putting Striker out there, and of course you get to add Boot to your hand. So get lots of combos just from this 1 little Link monster. I'm also not even playing Pisty in this deck, but if you do play Pisty, he still has that arrow pointing to the left so that you can use Pisty's effect. Our next card is a Link 2, Protector Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman, so you can equip him to Savage Dragon like I said before, and you can actually protect this card from being blown up when it's equipped to Savage with Prologue because he's a Destruction Sword. So if they have any funny ideas trying to blow up your back row so that he doesn't have any more negates, you don't even have to waste a negate, just banish Prologue, and then you still have that Omni negate that turn for a real card. It's pretty good at trying to get them to waste resources to bait your negates, and it just won't work. Of course, we have another Link 2 here, Predaplant Verte Anaconda. This guy is here for so many different fusion spells now, it's not funny. So I try to go into him a little later in the game instead of on the first turn. That way I can actually take advantage of him multiple times instead of just once. Our last Link 2 here is Crystron Halqifibrax. So you can use his effect to bring out Dragon Buster if he's not already in your grave. That way you have him there as a target for Buster Dragon on your opponent's turn. And you can turn off their extra deck. And then you can use him for Shooting Riser Dragon as well, which just furthers more combos out of nowhere. So I don't even link him away anymore. I just leave him on the field and then swap him into a shooting riser and then synchro. So I end up getting like chain link 5s and 6s, sometimes 7s on my opponent during their main phase. So yeah, Crystron Halki Fibrax, still a really powerful card, worth taking. And the last monster in the entire extra deck is BLS. That's right, Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos is still in here, and I find myself never going to Link 4s. So if you can find a powerful Link 3 such as BLS to help get you over, or if you want to throw in another Fusion or Synchro, or even maybe say like Heretic Seals, it's all personal preference. You can do what you wish, but I own my BLS. I love my BLS. It's a busted card. I'm going to keep it in here when I can. So that's it for the deck profile, and I have one combo I'm going to showcase to all of you right quick. So I'm going to show you my 2-card combo for Where Art Thou and Quick Launch. So before I let you all go from this video, I want to show you all my 2-card combo of Quick Launch and Where Art Thou. So as I said, you just need these 2 cards. Let's quickly shuffle this up a couple of times. We'll grab 3 more random cards just so that it's a little bit better of a test hand to show you guys. But the most important thing here is we have Quick Launch and Where Art Thou. We got a Buster Blader, a Phantasme, and a Return of the Dragon Lords. So that's actually a pretty standard draw that I would find. If we're going first, we only have these cards. If we're going second, Phantasme is probably on the field and we had more. So either way, let's pretend we're going first. So using the Quick Launch and Where Art Thou, we're going to use Quick Launch first. Quick Launch effect, special summon your Rokket Synchron. Now if we had Noctovision in our hand, we'd have an additional body on the field right now, but that's okay. That's not always going to come up anyways. We have our Rokket Synchron on the field. He's a level 1. You activate the Where Art Thou, and we're going to add ourselves a Buster Whelp. He was right there on the bottom. That's perfect. We're going to add ourselves Buster Whelp from deck to hand, and then you're actually going to normal summon that Buster Whelp right away. And because we're normal summoning it, we're not going to take the 2k damage from Where Art Thou in the end phase. So Buster Whelp effect on normal summon. There's a few things we could add here that are really good, I'm not going to lie. Prologue is the main card that you add, so I'm going to tell you that right now. You can usually just Prologue and you're good to go, safe route. Let's do something a little bit more tricky though. I'm going to add Destruction Sword Memories to my hand. So now, by adding this brick to my hand, we are just about ready to do this. So first thing is first, we're going to use these 2, and we're going to go into a Link 2, Protector Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. So Protector Whelp effect, you're going to send another Destruction Sword card, and we are going to send, where are you? There he is, Destruction Swordsman Fusion. So this is actually going to help us extend further, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So you send this to Graveyard, Protector Whelp effect, and then that allows you to special summon Buster Blader from hand. Now, the other part of this, you can take this back from your graveyard by discarding a card. So let's discard our Phantasme and add this back to our hand. That's not too bad. So we control Buster Blader right now, and we didn't use Whelp's effect to bring him out. And I mean Buster Whelp's effect, not Protector Whelp. So we have a Destruction Sword card in hand. We have 2. If you want, you can get rid of Memories or Fusion. Obviously, you're going to get rid of Memories, because Memories was the brick that we added, just for this purpose. So, just do the little swap. You toss that as your discard. You get to special summon your Buster Whelp now. You can go into Halki Fibrax, you can go into Striker Dragon, and blow up a card. But we're not quite done yet. So next, we're going to activate Return of the Dragon Lords. And remember that level 7 that we sent? We are going to special summon it. So try not to get rid of Memories by mistake with Destruction Sword Fusion. That way you can actually do this, because this is just how my hand opened out, so we're just going to follow it along. And that Return of the Dragon Lords is good protection for Buster Dragon, but we didn't pull Prologue, so it doesn't really matter. But when we try that later, it could come up, it could be very useful. So we can go a few different routes here now. Next, we're going to do another Link 2 using Protector Whelp up here, and our Buster Whelp. And since that was a tuner, I'm sure you can all figure out where I'm going with this. Needle Fiber, and then Needle Fiber effect when he's Link summoned. You get to special summon your level 1 from your deck, and because we don't have Dragon Buster in Grave, that'll complete our lockdown if we can get it going. We're going to special summon Dragon Buster from our deck. Next, we're going to synchro summon Buster Dragon, so we're going to use Buster Blader and Dragon Buster. And why I say Buster Blader is we can special summon him back with Buster Dragon's effect, so try not to mess that up. Now we're going to use the effect of Buster Dragon to special summon that Buster Blader back. And if you really want to, you can super poly your opponent right now, because their monsters will be dragons. Well, not now because you went first, but you know what I mean. Just with this board as is, you can set this, and you can steal your opponent's monster before they can do anything. You're going to take this card right here, you're going to set it right there. Doesn't really matter where you set it, I guess, but you're going to set this guy just so you can have the option to super poly your opponent. So let's say it's your opponent's draw phase, you can have the option to Buster Dragon right now. I wouldn't do that until after Halqifibrax effect. So when it's their main phase and then you're going to activate a card, let's say they normal summon. If you really want to, if it's punishing for you to let that normal summon go through, just flip this and super poly their guy away. They'll still get their effect, but that guy will be gone, so they can't actually, in some cases, continue their plays anyway. But if you don't want to do that, let's do this instead. We're going to banish Crystron Halqifibrax. That'll allow you to synchro summon Shooting Riser Dragon. And you can put him up here, you can put him here, doesn't matter. And because he was synchro summoned, we get to send a card from our deck to the grave. And we're going to send a level 6 Monodragon Zernatron, wherever he is. There he is. So now we have some back row protection for our Destruction Swordsman Fusion. The only cards we could really set are another quick launch, Return of the Dragon Lords, I guess not too bad, Warthau. Memories, there's no point because we're about to use it, but I guess you could set like another quick launch in an emergency case. But we're sending him to the grave. Now he's level 1. Then you can activate his effect again. You send these two, special summon Borreload Savage Dragon, Chain 1 Savage Dragon, Chain 2 Destruction Sword Memories. So you banish memories from grave. The Buster Blader you just used, you can do Shooting Riser, Synchron, doesn't matter, but I'm going to go, let's say, Buster Whelp. Why not? We're going to banish our Buster Whelp, not Dragon Buster. And now we get to Fusion Summon. So we will do just that. We'll grab our Fusion Big Boy right here. Chain 1 comes down to Borreload Savage Dragon now. And we will grab a Link 2. Oh look, there's only one here, but it's Protector Whelp. That's still 2 negates, 200 attack gain. Not too shabby. So now that this chain is resolved, quick effect Buster Dragon can either target, let's say you sent Wizard instead of Dragon Buster, target your Wizard, or you target this guy like I left in here, Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Now your opponent does not have an extra deck, they have no monster effects on the field, their monsters are automatically switched into defense if they're dragons, which they are thanks to Buster Dragon, and you have 2 Omni Negates, just one for this turn, one for next, whenever you may need it. And if you didn't get that option, if somebody messes up your Halqifibrax and Shooting Riser, like I said, Destruction Swordsman Fusion's right here as a super poly. Perfect interruption. That's just about it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I actually really enjoyed coming up with this combo. Quick Launch and War Arthau seems just super busted, and it just kind of fits the bill for the busted Blader deck. So if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you went that extra mile, smash that thumbs up button, and if you like my content overall, make sure to subscribe so you can stay notified for when more content comes out in the future. Now, as always, everybody, I hope you all have a wonderful day.